Welcome to PRAJNA SPARKS, a podcast where we listen to a Dharma talk, contemplate with our minds and in our hearts, and engage in guided meditation. This episode will air on Vesak, a celebration of the Buddha's birth, parinirvana, and enlightenment. How appropriate that we complete our foray into the 6 Mahayana paramitas on this day with an exploration of prajnaparamita, the transcendent perfection of precise knowing, the culmination of Buddhist practice. As usual, we ask that you give us a bit of your time today to subscribe, like, review, or share our podcast, whatever suits you. Alongside your own practice, this is the best possible offering as it helps the Dharma reach new listeners. Prajna in Sanskrit, which we often mutilate a little bit in English phonetics into prajna, consists of 2 syllables. The jna or jna, J-N-A, is a root in Sanskrit that refers to knowing, knowledge. The pra refers to precise, accurate, even in a sense heightened or superior, not necessarily superior in an elitist way. For example, my 25-year-old Saab just needed a new alternator. There aren't many mechanics that could handle Saabs when they were making them. There are even fewer now, but luckily I have a wonderful car mechanic who handles classic cars, and he has prajna, heightened, superior, precise and accurate knowledge about how to handle my lovely Saab. So prajna can be quite mundane, quite everyday. A car mechanic, a doctor, a lawyer, any number of different professions will have very specialized knowledge in their field. When we're speaking of prajnaparamita, the transcendent perfection of precise knowing, what we're speaking of is analogous to another Sanskrit word, jnana or jnana. You can hear that nya, J-N-A sound in the Sanskrit. Again, that same root that means knowing. But jnana, Yeshe in Tibetan, refers to non-dual wisdom, gnosis. You could say it is sheer knowing, without a division between knower and known. Prajnaparamita, in its full transcendent perfection, is another word for jnana, another word for gnosis or non-dual wisdom. The practice of prajnaparamita, of course, is something that we cultivate on the path, both before realization of emptiness and afterwards. In fact, the bulk of the Bodhisattva path consists of refining all of the paramitas, and in particular, prajnaparamita, all the way up to omniscience, which is another word for Buddhahood. Why is that? This precise knowing, this accurate and reliable understanding of the nature of things is what the Buddha discovered to be the indispensable antidote to the root ignorance that is the origin of samsara. It is only through precise knowing that accurately understands things as they are that we can completely neutralize the ignorance that miscomprehends everything, believing it to be as it is not. As we talked about in our last episode, prajnaparamita is actually what makes the first 5 paramitas of the Mahayana path transcendently perfect. These first 5 are related to upaya, a Sanskrit word which means skillful means. And the Mahayana path is often described in very succinct way as the unity of upaya and prajna, skillful means and precise knowing. The teachings tell us, however, that we could practice the first 5 paramitas to our utmost ability with the best possible of intentions, continuously, without fail, engaging in generosity, ethical discipline, magnanimity, diligence, and meditative concentration with purity of heart, purity of body and speech besides, and never attain Buddhahood. Because it is prajnaparamita that makes these first 5 categories of skillful means actually transcendently perfect. Prajnaparamita is what turns skillful means into wise means. Wise in the sense of not falling into the trap of duality that is characteristic of samsara. From the perspective of the Karmakagya lineage of Tibetan Buddhism, we often will describe samsara as misperception, and in particular, a misperception that believes that things actually exist dualistically as they seem to do, as they appear to us. This is the symptom of the root ignorance that spawns samsara, the belief in a truly existent self, from which we believe in truly existent other. And everything lines up, either on my side or not my side. Then starts all of the struggle, all of the pain, all of the anger, the attachment, the jealousy, the pride, and so forth. That root ignorance is a delusion that prevents us from engaging our experience as it is, prevents us from inhabiting our true nature of mind as it is. Prajnaparamita is the remedy that counteracts that ignorance, that allows, welcomes, encourages, and nourishes our true nature of mind, manifesting without impediment, such that we engage in our experience without some kind of film or barrier between ourselves and others. From the perspective of the dualistic mind we currently embody, this is very difficult to imagine. In fact, anything we do imagine is going to be off. It's not going to be quite right, which is why the practice of Buddhism always involves a major component of prajna, knowing, understanding correctly, accurately, and with precision. This practice is what ultimately develops into prajnaparamita, transcendently perfect. Why transcendently perfect? This is another issue that we raised at the very beginning of this series, and that you might see come up a lot in various writings. Some folks say that to claim transcendence is somehow to disparage what's happening here and now, our experience. It is setting apart a special realm or way of existing, whether you call it nirvana or God or what have you. This is a massive misunderstanding from the perspective of Buddhist philosophy. The very nature of our current experience is non-dual. When we seize on either our current experience, which is samsara, or liberation from samsara into nirvana as real, then we are fracturing reality. There's a fragmented, dualistic misperception of things as they are. Nirvana is the very essence of samsara. As Milarepa says, samsara is not something you export to somewhere else, and nirvana is not something you import from somewhere else. It's right here, right now. But if we seize on samsara as real, wonderful, perfect, with all its warts, then we embrace that in a way that does not allow us to transcend the misperception that takes it to be real the way we perceive it. If, however, we embrace samsara as the manifestation of its essence, which is nirvana, then absolutely everything we do becomes an avenue for revealing, nourishing, and further blossoming the prajna, the prajna, the precise knowing that is mind's true nature. This is what the practice of prajnaparamita is about. On a very basic level, we can bring some measure of understanding into our lives right away. How can we engage in practicing non-dual, sheer knowing when we are embodying a dualistic mind bent on fracturing reality into us and them? This relates to what's known as the 3 dimensions of an action, which simply means an actor, a recipient of the action, and the act itself. Right there, you see that fracturing. In practices that begin to invoke prajnaparamita in our everyday life, we slowly come closer and closer to recognizing that there is no inherent division between me as the practitioner, the recipient of some action, and the actual act. In time, with studies and practice focused on the emptiness, that understanding develops further and further. When we're engaging in the practice of generosity, we can try not to divide the me who is the giver, the recipient of the generosity, and the act of giving, but to try to relate to the experience as a flow of energy, a flow of caring that does not put oneself higher, lower, or in any other kind of differential category from the person receiving our generosity. The same applies to ethical discipline. We don't have to fall into the trap of saying, oh, this is purely good and that is purely bad. And so I'm going to completely shun everything that is bad and embrace everything that is good, because it really is that way. Now, that's not to say we don't practice ethical discipline, but prajna brings a more nuanced, more delicate, sophisticated understanding to ethical discipline. We start to recognize that it's not about following the rules per se. The rules are there as a support, a guide, something to lean on as our prajna develops to the point where our own innate wisdom can guide us to what is conducive to liberation and omniscience and away from what is not. Not so much because it is bad or good, but because it's conducive and aligned with our true nature or not. That also sounds pretty dualistic. And at first, we need to use the dualistic perception of our minds in order to overcome the dualistic perception of our minds. Each of the other paramita practices can also be informed by prajna. In essence, the practice of prajna is about developing our understanding of ourselves and others and phenomena in the world itself, its environment, the universe with its limitless capacity as empty. Empty means infinite potentiality. It's not like a black hole. On the contrary, it's boundless light that makes everything possible. The various practices of prajna throughout Buddhist traditions, be it in the Vipassana traditions of South Asia and the insight meditation practices that we see in convert Buddhist centers throughout the Americas and Europe, or the Madhyamaka practices common to Mahayana traditions in East Asia and the Himalayas. All of these practices are targeting this misperception of samsara to develop heightened, accurate, precise knowing in our mind. In fact, even that word develop is kind of mistaken. It's not like it's not there and we have to cultivate it. It's the very nature of our mind. It's more like we have to develop its presence, our familiarity with it, our ability to inhabit it, which is covered over and obscured by the dualistic habit and all of the actions that follow upon it. There are many different practices, including meditation on emptiness, the Satipatthana Sutta, koan practice, Mahamudra, Sokchen, Chan, silent illumination, and so much more that are about piercing to and inhabiting the true nature of mind, first in small glimpses, which are called meditative experiences, until they develop and expand further and further to that moment of realization of the true nature of things, the nature of emptiness. On the Bodhisattva path, that realization of the true nature of things gets refined more and more over what are called 10 bhumis, or levels of realization of the Bodhisattva, all the way up to the complete and perfect awakening of mind into Buddhahood, our true nature, our birthright.
Hello, friends, and welcome. For the contemplation on the transcendent perfection of precise knowledge, prajnaparamita, there are so many avenues that we could pursue, that we could engage with for our contemplation. Contemplation is such a crucial part of the Buddhist approach to incorporating the Dharma, the path, in our life. And it is such a vibrant, expressive way to make the Dharma come alive for us, to bring our lives into contact with the teachings in a meaningful and deep way. For this contemplation on prajnaparamita, we're going to focus on seeing for ourselves how deep our conviction in the importance of the combination of upaya and prajna is. Just how thoroughly we feel for ourselves this necessity of skillful means and precise knowledge. I will give a couple of jumping off inquiries that we can use to investigate for ourselves. But please, these are just the tip of the iceberg, little springboards that we can use to see how true this is to us, see how much we're aware and focused on the necessity of upaya and prajna, feeling that delight in virtue that comes when we are oriented towards it in a way that inspires us, that encourages us to both practice virtue, skillful means, as well as hone and deepen our precise knowledge that is transcendent, namely the precise knowledge of the emptiness, of the non-self of phenomena and individuals. As Gampopa says in the Ornament of Precious Liberation, when he's describing how essential it is to have both of these, skillful means and precise knowledge, he uses an analogy that goes like this. Just as someone wishing to reach the town of their choice needs a combination of eyes to survey the way and legs to cover the distance, so too those going to the city of dynamic nirvana need the union of the eyes of precise knowledge and the legs of skillful means. This analogy can really bring home for us just how essential it is to both have the skillful means that drives us forward, that allows us to cover territory, that produces the wave of merit, as well as the eyes of precise knowledge that direct us, help us make sure that we're going in the right direction. So for the contemplation, just ask yourself, do I see the necessity of both of these, skillful means and precise knowledge? Feel into your own experience and sense how keenly attuned you are to these, how much you're yearning to bring them into your life more and more. If we're not feeling the necessity, if we don't really understand the purpose, this again just points us back to more investigation we can do, more listening, whether it be listening to verbal teachings, getting a teaching from a spiritual friend or guide, reading a Dharma book to help us understand, so that we really feel the nuances of just what this teaching on the necessity of skillful means and precise knowledge together is pointing us towards for a very practical reason. We need to understand the necessity of them for our own practice. It's how we take the next step along the path. If we feel any resistance, or if we feel a little bit of boredom, like, oh, I've got to get on with this. Why does this keep going into the necessity? Just investigate that. See where that's coming from for you. Nothing is off limits or out of bounds here. This practice of contemplation is about bringing the Dharma into the very fabric of our existence right here and now, not ignoring what's going on for us or pretending it's not there, but using that as grist for the mill.
This is Yeshe and Zopa for PRAJNA SPARKS. Be sure to join us every month on the new and full moons for fresh episodes. Stay tuned now for a guided meditation with Lamas Zopa. Shivnee is our Tibetan singing bowl artist. Thanks again for the generosity of giving us some time out of your day to like, subscribe, share, or review PRAJNA SPARKS. It really does help us to spread the gift of Dharma to new listeners. If you have any questions, contact us via email, Instagram, or Facebook. Check the episode notes for those links and for more resources on today's topic. Visit us on the web at prajnafire.com or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at PRAJNA SPARKS. Thank you for listening. May all beings benefit.
For our meditation on the transcendent perfection of precise knowledge, let's begin by taking our seat and grounding, allowing whatever rush, difficulty, thoughts, plans, actions, whatever we might have had going on right before this in our day or our night, to settle away, for us to arrive in the present moment, feeling the stability of our meditation posture, connecting us with the grounding of the earth beneath us, the sky and space above and around us, and our embodiment in this moment in time, so precious being here. Take a moment to feel into that aliveness of the present moment, not needing to do anything else. Having arrived and taken our seat, let's turn now to shamatha practice, tranquility meditation, where we're cultivating that one-pointed, undistracted, clear yet calm state of awareness. We can use the breath or whatever focal object feels relevant and appropriate to us at this point in time. Practice like this for 2 minutes. in this calm, clear, alert state of mind that is easeful and focused. Let us turn now to the meditative inquiry on prajnaparamita, transcendent precise knowledge. One quote which I love: "Things are not as they appear, nor are they otherwise." This teaching from the Buddha neither denies experience, nor does it fall into the usual assumption that we are experiencing reality just as it is. It points us towards looking very precisely at any and all experience. Things are not as they appear, nor are they otherwise. Ask yourself, how do I know what I think I know? Open up space for curiosity, for open-hearted inquisitiveness. What if things don't exist in just the way they appear to me? We're engaging in experiential analysis here. Keep watch of the feelings, thoughts, resistances, or clarity that arise for you as you investigate. Don't rush past. Don't push through. Allow there to be a sense of curiosity, a kindness held gently as you look deeply. Does my view incorporate both appearance and emptiness? How everything, experienced and experiencer, are appearance, emptiness, inseparable. I'll repeat that. Does my view incorporate both appearance and emptiness? How everything, experienced and experiencer, are appearance, emptiness, inseparable. Whatever clarity we arrive at, rest one pointedly in that. If we feel like we are flailing in the dark, recognize even that experience. Recognize that you are aware of that experience. That also is precise knowing. With a topic as vast and profound as the transcendent perfection, precise knowledge, there is so much to investigate. There is so much to deepen our understanding. I pray that this brief investigation, experiential inquiry, may be useful to you. At the very least, I hope it points us back towards the next critical growth point for our practice, delving further into the teachings on precise knowledge. Thank you for your practice and everything you do to realize the true nature of mind. Now please join me to share whatever goodness has come from this listening, contemplating, and meditating with all beings. May we all realize, experience emptiness inseparable.